Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lori and it is 2021, baby. We survived. Today we are going to be filming another episode of the Lunar podcast, the first one of this year. I think the last one I did was like over a month ago, which is nothing unusual here. I hope you guys had a great rest of your 2020, as good as you could have, and I hope the new year rang in well for you. I have just been settling into my new position at the bank. It's been great. I kind of just fell right back into it, like I never left. I've met a lot of cool people, which is really fun, and yeah, I mean, just try to stay safe. I am currently homesick. I had to get a COVID test yesterday when I went to the doctor about a sore throat, which I have to tell you was a really difficult decision for me to make because I don't have sick time yet because I just started this job, and I also don't have health insurance yet because I just started this job. And for years and years, I would never call into work if I was feeling sick or anything, just because, money. So, and, taking off work is hard, especially when you don't have sick time. So I made a really tough decision. My throat had been hurting for about a week, which I know is bad and I shouldn't go around people. But for most of that week, I was off because of the holidays. But then it just, it hasn't gotten better and it didn't get any worse. So I was like, you know what, Lori, you need to go to the doctor. You just have to make sure that you're not spreading anything. Turns out that it's just tonsil stones, but they wanted to do a COVID test just to make sure there's no other symptoms going on. So I had to get a COVID test, which I have to admit was very uncomfortable. It wasn't painful, it just was really weird. So I'm waiting for those results. Hopefully they'll come in today and then I can go back to work tomorrow, because I really hate letting people down and I feel like not being there is letting them down, even though it's for a good reason. Anyways, that's just a little life update for me. I am home sick today. My throat is still hurting. I have taken some ibuprofen, which has helped, and I've been gargling with salt water. I'm sure you guys do not care about that at all. But that is why we're filming an episode right now in this beautiful lighting, because I have time. I feel like I have this nice set schedule now, so I could film a podcast, but it's dark by the time I get home still. And that's just frustrating. I don't want to just do it with my overhead lighting. I like the natural light. So we are filming a podcast. I don't have a whole lot to show you, if I'm being honest. I feel like I was pretty monogamous on knitting on one particular project, maybe two, you'll see. So I just really haven't knit on a lot of things, just bigger projects. But I have been itching to cast something on. So I will talk a little bit about that later on as well. But let's go ahead and get started, shall we? The first finished object is this beast of a sweater right here. This is my Igawa by Junko Okamoto. She is one of my favorite designers. She does a lot of really cool constructed pieces, and this one was nothing short of that. This was a top-down sweater, and it has this increasing right here to give you an effect of a raglan almost, while it's a drop shoulder. It's a little, to sit a little forward on your shoulders and not directly on the top. And so you do get that raglan effect when you're wearing it, and it pulls everything a little bit forward. Now, I will say, I used a superwash merino blend with nylon. I don't know what exactly it was because I didn't have any labels for this yarn, but I do know that much. And I would say if you want to get the exact same effect that Junko has, which I really liked that effect, but I knew I wouldn't get it with this yarn. I knew I would have something a little bit drapier. Use a more rustic yarn. Definitely. I would totally knit this again with a more rustic yarn, but I will say this is a labor of love. This took me 3 months, and it was pretty much the only project I worked on for those 3 months. Granted, I didn't knit a whole lot in that time period. I would just pick it up here and there, but the body itself is like 350 stitches every round. So that is a lot of knitting. And before you even get to the body, you have to do all of the back, which is all short row shaping, so you're back and forth, so there's a lot of purling as well. I'm not trying to scare you away or discouraging you from making this sweater, because I highly recommend it. It was really easy, but it was a really cool construction to teach you something new. So for that, I really appreciate it. And with the short row shaping, it makes it longer in the back, so it does cover your tush, if that's what you're going for. And then it's really, really boxy. And like I said, mine drapes a lot more than Junko's does because I used a superwash yarn. And I did wear this to work on Monday, so it stretched out nicely. I did block it, but it just really formed to my shoulders and everything. So I really like that. The sleeves are perfect. And I can even roll them up just like I want it to be able to. This yarn is so soft and just so drapey. I am in love. I have no idea who I sample knit a sweater for a random person last year, and she gifted me this yarn in return. There was no labels, there's no color. She doesn't dye yarn anymore, so I can't tell you anything about it. I'm so sorry. I used every single bit of 3 skeins, and I didn't knit the body as long as she suggests. I believe she suggests like 100 rounds. I don't know how many I did. I just knit until I had no more yarn, and then I bound off. Well, until I had enough yarn to bind off. So I literally used all of it, which feels amazing because it's like getting it out of your stash and making something with it finally. This has been on my list for a really long time with this yarn, so I'm really glad that I stuck it out and I completed it. There's just a tiny bit of pulling in the body, but it's so subtle that it's like whatever, it doesn't bother me. Like, I hate pulling, but this is fine. This wasn't a big deal for me. I don't even know if you guys will tell on camera. You probably can, but I love this part. Honestly, the sweater kind of reminds me of the boxy v-neck by Hoki Locatelli. I think it just reminds me of that because of the yarn I used, but if you actually look at Junko's pattern, this sweater is like a more structured, interesting look, so I definitely want to try it with a rustic yarn in the future, possibly. But like I said, it's a really big project to knit. Okay, so enough about this. I am going to jump into another finished object that I don't think you guys have seen. So it had snowed one day after I filmed my last podcast, or around when I filmed my last podcast, and I was like, oh, I really need to get a winter hat made for myself. I wanted a new winter hat. I wanted a black one because I had this black yarn in my stash, and black goes with everything. And I wanted it to be ribbed in a fold over. And it was going to be fingering weight, or I was going to hold fingering double. So I found a pattern. I think it was the Pearl Soho like ribbed beanie. I have no idea what it was. I don't even know if I saved the pattern. But I found a pattern for free, and I just went in. So I was looking at the pattern, and I know it was a Pearl Soho because theirs are kind of like set up different than I'm used to. And so like the sizing was confusing to me. So I looked at the one and I'm like, okay, this is the adult. This is what I'm going to do. It wasn't the adult. It was the child. So I have a beanie for a child that I do not have, nor do I know. So it's really cute though. This is what it would have looked like if I made it for myself correctly. But unfortunately I didn't. I am obsessed with this though. It is a Knit Picks yarn. I don't exactly know much more about that. I do know it's one of their kettle dyed ones, and it's very structured. This is fingering weight held double. I just held from the inside and the outside of the ball to create this, and it's just got a really nice, I don't know, what do you call that, just variations of gray and black. So it's the perfect beanie. It really is. Here's the top of it. I don't know. I'm really happy with it, and I do want to knit myself one, but I really want to find somebody's kid to give this to so they can enjoy it this winter. It hasn't been that cold, but you always need a good beanie. And of course I put one of my tags on it, and I used some blue thread because I always like to have a pop on my hats that just stands out. So that is just a 1x1 ribbed beanie that I can't wear. So cheers. And I just have to say, this thing is like not scratchy at all. It's like the softest sweater I own. I love it. Okay, I have another finished object. Yes, I know. You guys haven't seen this object either. You didn't even know I started it. But I did. And it's a pair of socks. So I'm going to stick one on my beautiful blockers by my friend Jenna. I love these. I did stain them, by the way. So this is a little darker than they come. I stained them to match my entertainment system and all the wood that I have around my house because I had the stain. And I thought it'd be cute so I can hang them on the wall and it'll match. But I digress. All right, so here we are. I have a finished sock to show you. And these are just a simple plain vanilla sock with a slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset. I honestly didn't know how to do this kind of heel. I had done it before, but I wanted it to be different. I wanted it to look like all stockinette. And I had a pattern where it was like a slip stitch heel where the slip stitches were on the outside or whatever. And it was just different. It wasn't what I was going for. I just wanted a nice clean look. And so I kind of just fudged around with that pattern, and I figured it out on my own, which was really awesome because I didn't want to buy a pattern. I just didn't. And so this is a 64 stitch sock, and I have like a pretty short leg because this was only a 50-gram ball, first off. Second off, I have a pair of boots coming in the mail, hopefully this week, that have about this high on my ankle. So these will be perfect for those. And this is how I like my socks anyways. This is how I knit all my socks. And these fit amazing. I used to always do the German short row heel, and it just doesn't fit my foot well. This freaking hugs my heel so well. It's like a hug on my foot. It's amazing. And everything else is just really basic. I just did a wedge toe. And here's the other sock. This was the first one. I did run out of yarn, which this is Dragon Horde Yarns yarn. I had 50-gram ball of it because last year I did a swap. Well, not last year, the year before, I guess now. I did a swap for like a Secret Santa sock swap, and I gave her 2 50-gram skeins of yarn. Like I split up 2 skeins so she could try both of them, and then I could also try one, like them as well, whatever. And this was a mystery skein that I got from Dragon Horde Yarn, so I don't really know anything about it. I don't have the tag. I sent the tag with her. I'm pretty sure I talked about it in a podcast before, but yeah. So I don't know why I'm rotating it all the way around in a circle. It's a sock. It's a very basic sock that fits extremely well. These probably look tiny. I have small feet, which is awesome. Having small feet is a good thing when you knit because you don't have to knit as much. So there is my first pair of socks finished that I've done, yeah. And I have a half object, which is another sock. I'm going to pop this on the sock blocker as well to show you guys, maybe. All right, so here is my half finished object. This is another sock that I finished. It's the exact same as the other one, except I did use a contrasting heel for this, but I did use the same heel, and I did the same like cuff and everything. So I used Explorer Knits and Fibers. This is her Harry Potter collection. I think this is book 4. And then this contrasting color was actually a, it's called Jenny Lake, and it came in a sock set that she did for her national parks. So I used this in another sock, and I had plenty left over to do the heel of this one, and I thought they went really well together. So it's all Explorer Knits and Fibers, just 2 different colorways that you can't currently get anyways. And they're really pretty. I love them. Funny story with these, I actually knit these in a week when I was training at one of our branch locations that was really slow, and I wouldn't do anything all day. And so I knit a pair of socks, which was really awesome. And then I've just been taking a pair of socks to work with me to knit on. So I have casted on for this other one. I actually have the yarn to show you too. So here's the yarn in the cake form. This is what I have left. Hopefully it's enough. And then I've since just cast it on for the other sock. And I just work on this on my lunch breaks at work. On days that I work until 4, I get a 30-minute lunch, so I'll just eat and then I'll knit. And then days I work until 6, I get an hour lunch, and I'll pretty much just knit the whole time. So it's been super nice and a good way for me to like control my anxiety and my stress and anything bothering me and keeping my mind busy, which has been perfect. So yeah, another sock. And I've been really enjoying making these, which is great. I have actually wanted to maybe try some color work on something. That's what I wanted to do with this, but then I changed my mind and just decided to go for the heel. And I'm really glad with that decision. These are going to be so perfect for my boots when I get them. I can't wait. Also, I just love these sock blockers. All right, so I just have one more project that I've been working on, and I haven't really been working on it too much. But this is my Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie May. And honestly, I just want to get it done. I'm not that into it anymore. I mean, it's still cute, but I think my style has slightly changed from this. But honestly, this was the best thing I could have done with this yarn, unless I just gave it away. But I didn't want to do that. And I'm still really much enjoying it and in love with it. But I just don't know that mohair in this style is like my thing anymore. I just haven't been gravitating toward my mohair sweaters as much as my just plain sweaters. But here's where I was the last time I showed you guys. Right where this globe is. It's from Tilting Planet, one of my favorite star glitter ones. And so I've done a few inches, maybe 5-6 inches on this. But it doesn't look any different because it's just the body of it. I do think it's going to fit nicely. It feels really nice and soft, and I would definitely wear this to work, especially since the lobbies are closed right now. We're only doing drive-throughs so we can dress more casually. I definitely think I would enjoy this. I am using Knit Picks' Aloft Mohair and the Carbon colorway, held double with Allie from Explorer Knits and Fibers Mountains at Dusk colorway. So it's giving me some really cool vibes, and I clearly really like Allie's yarn because I've used a lot of it in this video. Here it is. So I just need to decide how long I want to make the body before I do the ribbing. I actually do think I want to do a decent amount of ribbing on this. Usually I don't like bottom ribbing, but I don't think I'm going to go down in needle size, which might bite me in the butt later. And I might even do a split hem just to make it different than my other one. What is it? The Petite Knits one. The no frills. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm thinking maybe a nice long split hem on this. I don't know. And then I just have to do the sleeves and then we're finished. I'm just hoping I have enough yarn at this point and nothing starts pulling weird, because if it starts pulling, then I'm going to lose all motivation. I've really been wanting to cast on something, but I've been holding back for a couple of reasons. One, I hate winding yarn like so much. I hate it. And just, I can't figure out what else I want to knit. I have a knitting mojo. I just don't know what I want to knit. Everything I want to knit is so basic, and I'm afraid I'm going to get sick and tired of just knitting stockinette over and over, but it's what I want to wear. So I don't know. I've also been searching on Sweet Georgia's website to try to find some new yarn I might want to use, because I am a Sweet Georgia ambassador and the program restarted, so I got some credits, so I really want to check that out too. But I haven't been knitting on anything else. That's it. I do have this yarn that I keep trying to get myself to wind up. This is the Cozy Posy Yarn Co. And this is her Dead Flowers colorway on her Cloud Base, which is 100% superwash merino, and it's a single ply. And it has 400 yards, and I say that because I have 800 yards of this. And I really want to make the Boho Blush by Andrea Mowry. I think that's who it's by. Oh, I could be wrong. It's just a shawl with some lace and I think some brioche, which I've never done before, which would be super great time. So I just know it's not enough yarn. I've already decided that I don't necessarily need the fringe on it, so I'm okay with that. But I would like it to be large. I don't know. And then I'm also like, will I want to wear this around my neck if it's so close to my skin color? But I just think it'd be gorgeous. And I've always been trying to search for something for this, and I've just been craving knitting a shawl. So I think it's kind of like the natural way to go with this. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. Should I try to attempt to turn this into a boho blush, even though I know it's not enough yarn? Have you knit one? What do you think? Yeah. Also, leave suggestions for what I should cast on next. If you guys watched my yarn stash video, you'll kind of know what kind of yarn I have, and you can make some cool suggestions. That would be great. I really miss talking to you guys and just talking about yarn in general. I have just been isolating myself for the pandemic and everything. I am really just trying to stay at home and do what's right. So I'm kind of going a little crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Living alone, I don't really talk to anybody on like texting or whatever. I always forget to text back, and I'm just terrible at that. But yeah, it feels great talking to you guys regardless. Hopefully I'll sit down and do this a little bit more. No promises. Nothing is changing in 2021. I'm going to be just as unpredictable as I always have been, and I hope you guys are going to stick along for that ride. If you decide to, hit that subscribe button for more infrequent uploads. I'm really selling myself here. You can also follow me on Instagram. I post a tiny bit more on there. It's at Lunar Knits by Lori. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed anything that I showed today, and leave a comment down below just talking about anything. I'd love to hear from you. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye!